Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back. It is 8:57 a.m. And just a reminder that the second hour of News and Views is brought to you by African Muslims Agencies. And of course, also on a Monday, we take a listen and a look at the Fired Up series with Hafiz Imran Chunara. He is a personal excellence mentor and CEO of African Muslims Agencies. So we're going to take a look and a listen to that right after we're done with our interview with Hafiz Idreess Nungu. He is standing online. He is the chairman of the African Migration. I think it's just called the African chairman of African Migration. We're going to talk about his organization, but more importantly, we're also going to be talking about South Africa. Is South Africa failing foreign national in public hospitals? Assalamu alaikum to you, Hafiz Idreess Nungu. Welcome to the program. Nice to have you here.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
So, Hafiz, tell us what exactly is African migration all about? You are the founder. You are the founder and chairman of African Migration.
Yes, we made we created this organization because we wanted to fight the rights of our migrants in South Africa, because they didn't have any rights since xenophobia that started 2008, and all the migrants, all the leaders, they don't look onto that. So we decided to have this organization so that it will assist each and every migrant in South Africa.
So, Hafiz Idreess, there are still a lot of issues that plagues migrants in South Africa. There's issues around placement at schools. There's issues around housing. There's issues around finding suitable employment. But I think more importantly also is the issue around medical care, medical services that seems to be withheld from migrant communities. We also understand that lawyers for human rights have warned that the government, the South African government, can be taken to court if it fails to intervene in the public health crisis of vigilantes stopping foreigners and some South Africans from entering state hospitals and clinics. And we have heard of a lot of reports of this, in fact, happening as you and I speak this morning. What are your views on all of this, Hafiz?
Yeah, this is all about politics. And when we talk of politics, we're talking of the leaders that don't understand what politics means. Because this is the time for politicians. They must not talk careless about migrants. They must always talk something that can build the society of South Africa. But presently, we're not dealing with serious issues that are affecting our communities in South Africa. They are only dealing with the people that are concerned about migrants. And this is very, very bad that we can see now. So we need some leaders who can stand and represent as well migrants, like us, AMO, as well as South African human rights. We are all together. We're working together hand in hand with them. And we are not happy about this. Already I received calls this morning. There are people that went there and stopping people to enter in the clinics. I think the clinic belongs to the government. So if government people, they can be aware and hear that this is what is happening in that area. Police are there and they're supposed to act, because that is a criminal act that is happening. These people are innocent. They are sick. They have to get treatment from the hospital or clinic. But because of hatred that we are getting in our communities, we don't tolerate such things like that. We don't want to take the government to court because of such things. But at least government should take measures against this type of vigilantes. They must arrest them. They mustn't just leave them harassing migrants. Migrants, they don't have any problem with anybody. We have seen spaza shops. They were crying about spaza shops. Some of them, they are failing now to run the spaza shop. They were blaming foreigners. So whereby it's not right. And Nothing is talking about it. So these are some of these things that are just happening in the country. Like we don't have leaders who can try to stand for that. They are just talking on the TV, but there's no action that is happening. So we are worried about that as AMO.
We understand that militant groups Operation Dudula and March have been blocking the entrances to hospitals for the past 2 months, demanding that people show their South African IDs before deciding whether they can get medical help or not. Also, refugee leaders in Durban have said that at least 2 people have died because they failed to get the treatment, the medical treatment that they needed. And if this is not contained by the leaders and the political leaders in South Africa, obviously, and very sadly, it could then start inciting xenophobic attacks. And we don't want that to happen. Political leaders need to step in, and they need to step in now. So, your thoughts? Have you made representation to government and different political leaders about the situation? And what is it that you're saying to migrant communities regarding this very huge and dangerous issue and precedent that is playing out at clinics and hospitals?
Yes, we're playing a very big role for protecting all the migrants in South Africa. We're working together hand in hand with Open on Africa, as well as South African human rights and other civil societies. We are working together so that we need also migrants to be treated like other people in South Africa. There is no right that says because you are a citizen of South Africa, you've got more rights than a foreigner. There's nothing like that. But the only problem that we have, we're just coming from apartheid now. Our people, they were supposed to be taught about this type of thing, because this country, if we leave it like this as it is now, we are going to hate each other as neighbors. And then when there's a war here in South Africa, where are we going to run? Because once you treat your neighbor nicely, when you have a problem, you can also go to your neighbor. The neighbor will also assist you. But when you say, because you are not from here, you need to go out. These people, they just came also with some problems from their countries. So we need to sit down as a government. They were supposed to finish this thing of harassing foreigners. They were supposed to give them documents. This document is not a problem to give people. We can see Mugabe, when it was Zimbabwe, Rhodesia. Mugabe took over the country in 1980, but he didn't chase all the African people. He requested them, if you want to stay in my country, you have to be documented. He gave them documents, and he told them that they cannot vote here in South Africa. They cannot vote in Zimbabwe. They can go and vote in their countries. So this is what we need to see here. We have seen Kama Billiard. Kama Billiard, he was a player of Sundowns and Kaizer Chiefs. He's from Zimbabwe. But his parents, they come from Malawi. Because he said, Mugabe, once if your child is 18 years, he can decide which nationality that he wants. So why are we not doing also in South Africa? We are promoting corruption and bribes in South Africa. If we don't see what is happening, the politicians should sit down and try to monitor all such problems that are happening here. They must treat those migrants like also the citizens of the country. We don't want people to be divided into groups. This is why the capitalists were dividing us. They put the borders. And when they put the borders, then they cause this problem that we are facing today. Because these people, they are trying to chase away the foreigners to make hatred between black versus black, because they need this country to go back to the capitalists. So we need to be aware of that. What we are doing, we need to have research before we act.
So you're really saying it's the fault of the colonizers that carved up and divided Africa and other Middle Eastern and Eastern countries in the dark days of colonialism. But coming back to the current issue at hand, we understand there are about 2.4 million international migrants living in South Africa. This was according to Stats SA's last census, which was taken in 2022. That equates to approximately 3.9% of the population. And of course, under South African law, foreign nationals are largely entitled to the same health benefits as the citizens itself. And also, we are aware of the fact that foreign nationals don't have to pay for HIV or TB treatment, and they face the same means tested fees as citizens for services obtained at clinics. Are you saying that all of that has been put to a stop? That's the first part of my question. And I'm kind of wondering, we have spoken about politicians and government being blind or refuse to own up to the situation playing out in South Africa. But the fact that Donald Trump has withdrawn, obviously, he's withdrawn aid not only to South Africa, the HIV, AIDS, etc., aid, but to all countries around the world. Isn't he and his policies largely responsible for what is playing out here?
No, it's not like that. That's why we say all Africa should be united, like what Burkina Faso is doing. We should have our own things to do here in Africa. We got everything here in Africa. You mustn't tell me we don't have this. We got technicians, we got doctors, we got scientists, people are graduated. Those are the things that we should do on our own. We don't have to rely with people from Europe. When we rely with those people, that's where there is a problem, whereby you see that we have to ask and beg those people from Europe or America, because we cannot have brains to just do it on our own, in our own country.
So, Hafiz Idreess, I could, well, not myself personally, but people, South African citizens, could argue due to the high unemployment rate in South Africa and the huge influx of migrants in South Africa, it's creating quite a strain on our health system, including other services as well. Thus, out of sheer frustration, South African citizens are reacting in the manner that they are. If there wasn't such a strain on the health system, perhaps we wouldn't have the scenario. So I guess in response to what I'm saying now, it goes directly back to government and ministers and the Department of Health. Have you tried engaging with any one of them and tell them to account for why the situation is as dire as it is currently?
Yes, that's why human rights wants to take government to court. Like I said, we work together with human rights. So we are busy trying to do that. And then we have to take them to court. They must be reliable for all those things that are happening. Because you cannot let someone who doesn't have powers to ask someone ID or passport. And this person is doing it in your house, in your property, whereby he is not even known there in the property, but he's asking people ID passport. So those are some of the problems that we are facing here, and our politicians, some of them, they are happy to see that, and the government should act on such politicians. We got equality courts here in South Africa. So these politicians, they are always talking careless about migrants, and the word they say is influx. Influx is a word that is used by those journalists that are being paid also by those politicians to just put the bad image for the people from outside the country. Because anything that happens in South Africa, small thing, they always blame the migrant. Hey, foreigners are doing this, hey, they're doing this in our country, they are messing us our country, but that is not the way how things are. It's about service delivery in the country. That's what we are fighting for. We need service delivery. So we don't need to fight our foreign brothers here. Even those people that are waking up early in the morning, they're going to the clinic and stopping people to get treatment. They are supposed to be looking somewhere a job or market a job, but they mustn't try to blame foreign nationals every now and then. This problem started in 2008 when xenophobia started here. So until now, it's not yet finished. They've already seen that this is the only way they can target the foreign nationals, because they are cheap people to target. They are making them scapegoats, in other words, of which that is not right. So government should stand and represent the rights of migrants in South Africa.
So to wrap up then, let me ask you the question again, Hafiz Idreess Nungu. Have you in fact engaged with government and politicians, local and even regional and national, because they need to understand what's going down and they need to give you answers and they need to put a plan in action. Have you, in fact, engaged with them, and what sort of responses have you received?
Yes, we are on the way to do that. Like I said, we are working with human rights. All the problems, we work together with them and we submit some of our complaints with them. But we also have rights to engage directly with them. And that's what we are planning now to do. We need to stop all these things that is happening in our country and in our society.
And that's where we leave it. We hope and pray that, inshallah, this issue can be resolved. That I think it's really twofold. I think if employment, if our young people in the country do find meaningful employment, that will make the economy turn. And I don't think people would then vent their anger outside of the current system in the situation. But let's wait and see what happens. Thank you indeed for your time. Hafiz Idreess Nungu, founder and chairman of African Migration. It is 13 after 9 o'clock. We're moving along with news and views right here on Salam Media.